Hello, hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. So today is day 3 of my live video challenge, and I want to talk today about success and how our beliefs can impact our success. So there are 3 main reasons that I feel prevent us from being successful. The very first one is our belief system. So, what is a belief? Let's talk about that for a little bit. A belief is something that you feel certain about for whatever reason. So it comes from your childhood, it comes from past experiences, it comes from information that you've been told, it comes from experiences. It's the thoughts that are in your head all the time about a certain situation, circumstance, feeling. That's a belief. So those beliefs shape your entire life. It comes from your experiences. And so if you grow up and you don't have a lot of money growing up, you're going to believe that money is hard to come by unless you do something to change that thought pattern and that belief. So the number one thing that prevents us from being successful is our beliefs. If we believe that we can't be successful, if we believe that we can't have money, if we believe that we can't accomplish a certain body weight or have a certain lifestyle, then you're not going to. If you believe that you can't have success, you're not going to. And those beliefs can really be embedded in you deeply, and you don't even realize it. So I know for me, one of the biggest challenges that I had is changing my belief around money. So to kind of go with that example, my growing up, I was I was an only child, and my mom was a single parent, and things were a little rough financially. I wore hand-me-down clothes, and I talked a little bit about this in one of my other videos, but it was like there was never enough. She had food stamps, and we had to do what we had to do to get by. But what happened was, internally, without me even realizing that, it created a belief system in me that money was not easy to obtain, that there was never enough, that, certain things were unobtainable. And so it was only when I really decided to stop and take a look at the things that I was unhappy about, and going with the example of money, that was something that I didn't want for my family. I didn't want to have that lifestyle for them. And so sometimes we can completely block our success and not even realize that we're doing it by our belief system. So the next thing I want to talk about is our beliefs turn into patterns. And so going along with that example of the money, believing that there's never enough, it creates a certain sense of scarcity. And so there's never enough at the end of the day, or, my bank account doesn't have enough to pay the bills, or it's that mindset and that belief. And then what happens is you don't even realize it, but like for me, I was spending money on things that was creating that reality. And so it became a pattern. And you can relate this to lots of different subjects that you're talking about. So let's use the example of weight loss. There's a lot of people out there that aren't happy with the way that they look, and they want to lose weight. So you could apply this in the same type of way. If you have certain patterns that form from beliefs about yourself. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe the belief is that you won't have enough food. All of these different things. The belief maybe could be that you don't have enough energy, that you don't have enough time to work out. All of these beliefs then create patterns. And so the patterns create, again, and cement in your reality. Thoughts become things. And so what you think about and what you believe becomes your reality. So that would be the second thing, is your patterns. Your belief system creates patterns, and that's just the way that the mind works. When you think about something repeatedly or over and over, and even subconsciously, you don't realize that you're thinking about it, it becomes a pattern. And so your daily actions reflect those belief systems in the patterns and the habits that you do on a daily basis. So the third one would be fear. So, let's say that you realize that you've got some patterns and beliefs that are not benefiting you or helping you to succeed in whatever goal that you set for yourself. Fear is the number one block of success. So, it kind of goes in that order. And it's like you have a belief system. Those beliefs create patterns or thoughts, and your thoughts and your patterns then create your actions on a daily basis. And so when we talk about changing or doing something differently, if you're not happy with something in your life, a lot of times fear is what prevents us from making the change. So, fear of the unknown, fear of losing whatever it is that you have, even if it's just mediocre or not really making you happy, fear of failing. A lot of people don't take any action because they're scared of failing. And so then what happens is, from this fear, we make excuses. We kind of excuse the different habits or the different behaviors or the behaviors of somebody else. I mean, it could be, in relation to somebody that you're hanging around, a relationship that you're not happy in. It could be, patterns that you're not happy with yourself. So if you want to lose weight and you're choosing to eat bad things, that's preventing that. There might be a block in there. And a lot of times it roots back to fear. It roots back to fear of failure, of not accomplishing the goals that you set out to. And those excuses then, basically what an excuse is it's an alteration of reality. So nothing about an excuse is going to move you closer to your goals or improve your situation. And so one of the biggest challenges that we have then is, one, to stop making excuses. And I'm not exactly sure who said this, but it always stuck with me. Successful people do not make excuses. So it's just true. Successful people, they might still have fear, but they move past that fear and they don't let that fear stop them from accomplishing what they set out to do. And so successful people do not make excuses. And so that would be the number one thing that I would say, is that if you're feeling fear about a certain situation, it's usually a pretty good sign to do it, because that means that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. It means that you're stepping outside of your patterns and what you've been doing. And fear is usually an indicator that, not always, of course, fear can protect you from things, but most of the time, our minds have a funny way of using those patterns and beliefs to kind of create scenarios or realities that aren't true. And those are the things that get in the way of your success, and they block you from really achieving what you want. And So the other thing that can happen is when you're living in fear, you become stagnant. And so when you become stagnant and you're not moving forward in life, it creates this feeling of just being stuck. And in my experience, and I've been there, in my experience, when you feel stuck in a situation, you feel stuck in life, it creates, for me, it created a really unhappy feeling. I got really depressed. It doesn't feel good to be stagnant. It doesn't feel good to be stuck. And that's just a direct side effect of fear, of letting that fear prevent you from taking forward steps to accomplish whatever it is you're wanting to do. And I know for me, something that has been a really big challenge throughout my life is the fear of letting people down, the fear of not being good enough. And those patterns, that belief that that's what's going to happen, has deep roots in my childhood. And so that's something that I really have been trying to work through. And, whenever those thoughts kind of creep in, trying to do some internal conversation to change that. So, so those are the three things: your beliefs, your patterns, and your fear are what prevent people from being successful. And so what do we do about it? How do we move past that? So I read an amazing book, you guys, called The 5-Second Rule. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it, but it is, it's all about taking action. And it just talks about how you literally have 5 seconds when you, let's say that you get up in the morning and you're about to roll out of bed and you think about working out, and your brain is like, yeah, no, I don't have the energy, or I don't have time. So it is a scientific fact that you have 5 seconds before your brain talks you out of something. And it can work the opposite way as well. So this 5-second rule is basically, if you feel the urge to do something, if you feel inspired to do something, if you have a goal in mind and you know that there's something that you could be doing that would make your life better, take action within 5 seconds of having that thought, or your brain will talk you out of it. So that is such an easy little thing that you can do to start to take small steps towards whatever it is that you're wanting to accomplish. So if you want to be more healthy, and you're walking past an ice cream place and you're like, oh man, that ice cream sounds so good, 5 seconds, keep walking, or, change that conversation in your mind. Think about how unhealthy that would be, or how much that wouldn't help you accomplish your goals. So if you guys want some inspiration, I would highly recommend checking out that book. It's a good one. It definitely inspired me. And, sometimes change is such a scary thing to think about, because it requires us to do something differently. And again, there's that fear is so easy to be able to creep in. But here's the thing, you guys, movement produces change. And so when you start to move forward past the fear, past the patterns, and past the limiting beliefs, and you start to learn different ways of being and doing and taking action, so moving, it changes your life. And little choices to take movement, little actions each day add up to huge success. So one of the things that I've been trying to practice in my own life is, like I said, just putting that 5-second rule into effect, making quick choices. So if I wake up and I don't feel like working out, I'm going to make the quick choice to roll out of bed and just do it anyway. Another thing is really getting real with yourself and taking a look at those beliefs. Where do they come from? Do those patterns and beliefs come from somebody or something that you want to be? So what I mean by that is, if you have some beliefs around a certain situation, let's say, we'll use the food example again. If you have some certain beliefs around food, where did those come from? And so if you kind of really take that time to go deep and really think about it, is there more than one way to think about the situation? Did these patterns and beliefs form when you were a child, maybe from somebody who doesn't have the healthy lifestyle that you want to have? Do your limiting money beliefs come from maybe the way that you were raised, your family? Do they have the money or the lifestyle that you want to have? And if the answer is no, and like I said, it doesn't have to be about money or food or whatever, but you could apply this in any situation. If you really get to the root of where your beliefs and your patterns stem from, and you think about, is that source somebody that inspires me? Is that how I want to be? Is that working for them? Or is it not? It's really easy to kind of have like a little paradigm shift and realize that maybe these thoughts aren't doing you any good. There's people fear what they don't know. And so you could apply that to race and politics and, just lack of understanding in general in certain situations. And so the other thing is really taking the time to do some self-improvement, research, learn about things. A lot of times I've found that advice that I've been given or things that I've been told, people might not really know what they're talking about. Maybe they do. But if it's somebody that you're not wanting to mirror and look up to, and, if they're not accomplishing the things that are in line with your goals, then you might want to look to different sources for some information. And different information, you guys, that alone can completely change your belief system. So that would be definitely the biggest thing that I would recommend, is do your research. Go outside of what you know and look things up. We are so lucky to have the technology that we have right now. Information is like endless on the internet, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's right information, but if you're wanting to know about something, chances are you're going to be able to figure it out by doing some research. And so my best friend Lisa always gives me a hard time because we'll be talking about things, and somewhere along the line in our conversation, I will inevitably say, oh yeah, I was doing research about that and blank, blank, blank. And we always laugh because it's true. I mean, that's just, I guess the way that I am. I always want to learn more. I always want to know more. And I think that has been the thing that has helped me shape the life that I want to live and have the things that I want to have, because I haven't settled for what somebody else says is right or wrong. And so just by opening your mind and taking action and learning, that then can be empowering. And so when you think about things in an empowering way, that changes the whole story around what you're doing. So if you hate working out, if you hate running, how can you flip that conversation and change that? How is that belief preventing you from accomplishing your goals? What is silly about that belief? Is it helping you or is it hurting you to think about things in that way? And when you can stop and really do that and change that conversation in your mind, that's where you can move past that fear or those beliefs and start to take action, and action creates change. So I would say, if this is a struggle for you, which it's definitely, not an easy thing for me, practice. I heard something once and it really, really stuck with me. It takes 25 times of experiencing so once you've experienced something negative, it takes 25 positive exposures to that same thing to change your belief about it. And so, if you start to take action and you're not successful, don't stop. That's the key. And that's the other thing why there are some people that are really successful in things, and then some people just seem to never quite make it, is because the people that are successful, it's not that they're doing anything better, or they're not giving up, and they're failing, and they're failing forward. They're moving forward, and they're not going to stop until they reach the goal that they set out for themselves. So it doesn't come easy to anybody. Maybe some people it does, but I think to most people it doesn't. And so the key is just to keep practicing and keep trying new things and keep changing that internal conversation, keep expanding your knowledge, learning, and information is so valuable when it comes to changing your patterns. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today, you guys. And I hope this helped somebody. But this is something that I've really been trying to practice in my own life and get better at. And, we're all human and we all make mistakes, and we all have, patterns and beliefs that limit us. And so if you really, really want to move forward and have a life that inspires not only you, but other people, it's just really about being conscious and aware of those patterns, beliefs, and moving past that fear. So I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.